So here we're going to continue working on our storyboards. We're now working on scene 3. This is sped up significantly, so what I've done is I captured the previous frame, copied it, put it on another layer for this particular frame, which I think is frame 6 of scene 3. I brought it in just so that I would get size right, proportion right. I want a sense that the character has whipped himself into another position. So I really wanted to know where the previous character was so that I would get proportion and size right. So here I'm just sketching an idea of what our little lizard character would be doing. He's agitated. He's witnessing this battle that's going on, or these soldiers who have invaded his territory out here in the desert in the middle of nowhere, and he's agitated by that, and he's troubled. So he's investigating. He wants to know what's going on. Here I'm working with a standard brush with shape dynamics, using layers inside of Photoshop. I'll do some erasing. I'm spending a little bit more time on these thumbnails. I really do enjoy drawing. I like to get a chance to get in and work with it, and using this new Intuos 4 tablet by Wacom, I've never had such an agreeable tablet. I've had a previous version, a previous Intuos, which I think was like Gen 1. It was really small. It was 3x5 or 5x7, or it was really small and not very responsive. And I got that years ago, and I had removed the buttons and never could find them. So I basically just used keyboard shortcuts and would sketch away with it. And this Intuos 4 is just a world of difference. So I really do enjoy at this point drawing in Photoshop. I don't get enough time to draw. It's always been a pastime of mine. So just kind of sketching it up. Animus is the name of this lizard character. I sketch his thigh in there. I'm not looking at reference at this point. I really don't want anything getting in the way of the creative flow of ideas. And just the idea of lizard, a little thorny lizard, a little horny toad is what my mom used to call him. This is a great character. I got him off of Creative Crash, and kudos to the designer of this Animus character that we're going to use, and we'll of course give him full credit. I can't think of the name right now, but I haven't really even begun to animate with the character. I think I posed him just to get an idea of what he would look like close to the ground for the character sheet that I did for this piece we're working on, Robot Battle. So I'm just zooming out and putting in some thicker line. It really looks like it needs some kind of shadow. It looks like it's just kind of floating in space right now, so just trying to give it some visual interest and make it stand out. The things that are closer to us, make them, yeah, there's some shadow, make them stand out a little. There you go. So he's agitated. He's looking at the battle scene that's going on with these Humvees. Alright. This needs a little cleanup. Make sure I'm on the right layer. I'm using layers here because I'm working at 300 dpi on an 11-inch by 18-inch canvas. And I will be using these thumbnails inside of Photoshop, using the timeline and turning them into video layers and actually creating the animatic from the very same thumbnails that we're producing right here. They might change a little, but I wouldn't think that they would change much. Of course, these are just the thumbnails, so I'll put a little bit more work into the line work. I've done a few animatics, and even today I still get a thrill out of looking at the animatics and remembering all the work that went into that. Alright, so that thumbnail, he exits the scene. He's agitated, he takes off. Now there's this rock face. I want to get this shot of, I have this documentary that was done by some British dude, and it's got these shots of these lizards running up and across the wall, and I'd really like to work that in here. So we're going to take the opportunity now to get our little lizard character to run up a rock wall. Might make for some interesting animation. Something we want to see. Well, I say we, but it's me. You know, I want to see it. A little directional arrow right there to help myself, and I'll probably remove those later. I might leave them in, I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along. Just thumbnailing. I'm lassoing the character. I'm gonna move him to another layer. I drew him on the rock layer, and I want to be able to move him if I want to later. So I'll just position him where I want him. I might take the animatic into After Effects, or I might just do all of the Photoshop Creative Cloud, Photoshop CC, has timeline similarities with After Effects. It's got the same kind of stopwatch key setting capabilities. It doesn't have all the capabilities of After Effects, and I've yet to really dive into I just copied the layer there. I copied the background layer, and I'm going to use Shift and just move it directly over for our next thumbnail. Originally, the scene 3 was slated for 6 frames of storyboarding, but I quickly realized that I wanted more than 6. So now we're at 9, but I'm going to take it probably to 15. So I just moved the character, hoping to save a little bit of time, but I end up redrawing him anyway. It's fun. I like to draw. So I'm kind of looking at it, trying to figure out which limbs would be moving, what position they would be in. There's actually an additional joint in the lower leg that I haven't been drawing, but I'm not too concerned with that. Just having fun. I spent some time in my youth chasing lizards down in Louisiana for a summer. Every time I tried to catch them by their tail would fall off. But they were everywhere. You could always count on finding a lizard climbing a wall or a post, or they were literally everywhere. Some more directional arrows. That's the radial menu from the Wacom tablet. Now in between shooting here, I set up some more arrows, some zoom in and some zoom out arrows. And set up our next frame. I'm just kind of moving the background into place. Just copied it from the previous scene and erased some of the arrows. Now I want the character facing down and kind of looking out, looking back. And you can see in the last frame on this page that I've actually got the Humvees off in the distance. So now, according to the last frame, what his position is going to dictate where he's going to be in this next frame. So I'm trying to get that right. More of a downward facing shot. And then just kind of throwing in some circles and getting a feel for the body of the character. Get him to occupy the space there. That's good enough for now. Thumbnail. And I'll just move on to the next one and kind of work that head shot of him looking at the soldiers off in the distance. There we go. Come back and I'll work this one a little. It's more detail than we put in the previous drawings, but they'll all get a little bit of that treatment. Clean them up a little, and I'm working on the wrong layer here, so I have to copy that, put it on the, or cut it and put it on the right layer, and then merge that down so that I can erase and work on that character. Get them all on the same layer. Merge down. Good. Good. Alright. Just kind of clean it up. I don't like to spend too much time on my thumbnails. Some of the drawings in these storyboards are already tightened, but I think it's important to just keep the momentum going. If you give yourself too much time or spend too much time on one thing, there's always the opportunity that something will happen. You just want to get it done while it's fresh in your mind, which of course is impossible to do. Animation takes a lot of work, a lot of layout, a lot of planning. So just get as much done as you can when you can. Just kind of having some fun here. Alright. Yeah, let me just shrink that down a little. It's looking a little large compared to the other drawings. Alright. Deselect. Make sure I'm on the right layer. And go into the next one. Make sure that head's on the right layer. Clean it up. It's got this kind of spiky nose. Spikes on the lower jaw. Spike down his forehead. Yeah, that's good. Make it readable. Yeah, there you go. Good. Making a mess there. I'm not really happy with that hand, but I don't want to waste too much time. I'll come back to it. Got some erasing to do, some cleaning, some fixing. I'll make a list. All of this is just the legwork, the layout, the planning, the preparation for animation. I really just want to animate, but given an opportunity to draw, I like to draw, so make some nice drawings. Take the opacity down on that layer and start to lay in some line, because that, I don't want to mess with cleaning all that up. I know where I'm going with it, so I don't want to have to erase it. Just start another layer, call it line work. Thumbs and lines, backgrounds. Alright. Alright. There we go. Just trying to figure out where it starts and where it finishes. Make it readable, make it clear. Good silhouettes. Strong poses. You know, storyboards are just to give us an idea of where we're going to take the shot, so that we don't waste our time trying to feel it out later. Always important to have a plan. Here I'm going to draw that joint, that additional joint that I've been missing in all my other drawings. Constantly revising. That was an accident. Brought up the brush palette, pushed the button on the pen. Alright, clean it up. Using the radial menu to save.